Good afternoon, everyone. This is the next Spirit Animal Oracle Intention. So I have been tuning in live with you all every Friday. Good afternoon, or good morning, good evening, wherever you may happen to be watching from in the world. So if you recall last week, Crow Spirit and Groundhog Spirit are continuing to want to work with us, and I'm getting that same impression. So for a few weeks now, Crow Spirit co-creating with Spirit and Groundhog Spirit time to let go. These two spirit animals have really wanted to remain working with us. They're recognizing that we're making actually a lot of progress with uprooting the things that are ready to go, like the old narratives, the old frameworks, the old definitions of ourselves. We are really letting go of a lot of that stuff. So Groundhog Spirit, time to let go, really wants to continue to support us in that process so that as we uproot those old outdated belief systems and make room for the new seeds to be planted, Groundhog wants to continue in that process. And then Crow Spirit co-creating with Spirit. Crow Spirit wants to continue to work with us so that we can really, really embody the truth about how powerful our subconscious is when it comes to co-creating with us our 3D circumstances, our world. So if you want to take a look at those previous recordings, they are on my socials, so you can take a look at that. Now, last week, Crow Spirit was the one to invite the supporting cast. So Crow Spirit pulled through Spider Spirit, making your dreams real. Those are the seeds, the new seeds that we're planting, the new belief systems that we're planting, the seeds of our dreams. Bee Spirit, sweet results await. And as we nurture those new seeds that we are planting, those sweet results will be there for us, the dreams that we are making real. And Stag Spirit, Crow also pulled through Stag Spirit as a supporting cast. Take the lead in making those choices and decisions about exactly what those seeds are, and specifically where we're going to plant them. The metaphor is the garden. How do we want to create our landscape, right? Where do we want to plant those seeds? Let's not wait for natural pollination, so to speak, where the birds and the critters poop where they want, and then there they happen to germinate wherever they are. But let's decide where exactly we want those seeds to be planted so that we get to design our landscape, our garden, exactly the way we want. So today is a new day. Today is Friday, July 31st, and we're going to pull through a new spirit animal. So I am getting the message that Crow and Groundhog still want to continue to work with us. So we're going to not return those to the deck, but the others I'm returning to the deck. I'm not sure how long Crow and Groundhog will want to work with us. So as I'm shuffling and as I'm tuning in, I can share just from my perspective, my reflections. I decided to work closer with Stag Spirit last week, and I did notice that it did feel really empowering to know, just like step into that truth of like, I'm in control of deciding what I choose to believe and what I choose to not believe. And so when 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 I was thinking about the things that I'm working on last week and having to move into action steps with my to-do lists and stuff, I was like, okay, it gave me sort of a little bit different objectivity from like, instead of coming from the vantage point of like, oh my gosh, I've got to make it through this to-do list, it was more about, okay, here's my to-do list and what do I want to tackle first and next and next. And it felt less overwhelming. It felt more like, yeah, I can make this work the way I need to make it work. And it also took some of the pressure off of feeling like I needed to accomplish everything in a particular manner. All right, so I'm almost getting a shove to stop shuffling. So this may be the crew. They do seem to want to come in multiples. Interesting that the supporting cast seem to be multiples of 3. So let me just tune in and make sure. All right, so there is actually one more that wants to come through in the more traditional sense. So I'm going to do that. But these are part of the supporting cast, the ones that fell out of the deck. So, feel free to share in the comments if you have any reflections on last week or the weeks prior, inviting Crow or Groundhog or any of the other supporting cast animals that came through last week. If you have any reflections that you want to share, any thoughts that you want to share about any of that, I find it really interesting to read about other people's perspectives on things. It often helps me to expand my vision of things and perspective on things, and sometimes folks highlight their own experiences that help me to think about things a little bit differently. So all right, so this is great. And I just got a really strong impression that this cast of characters, this supporting cast, is going to move forward with us, and Crow and Groundhog will then move into the supporting cast role. So the cards that fell out of the deck naturally, the first one is Fox Spirit, thinking on your feet. Fox Spirit is thinking on your feet. So the impression coming through for this one, relative to all of the things that we've been talking about the past couple of weeks, is something's coming through about not letting ourselves get flustered. Like if something doesn't go according to plan. So let's just say you've planted your wonderful, beautiful garden, right? And your seeds are planted, you're seeing them sprout, and then all of a sudden you notice that there's some critters that are really enjoying the tasty leaves that are coming up from the ground. And so, what do you do in that case? Like, what do you do in that case? And so thinking on our feet in that scenario, what if you, honor the fact that that critter does need nourishment, and maybe you have some of your seeds that are planted as an opportunity for a food source for them, but then maybe you also fence off with the appropriate boundaries, like setting appropriate boundaries. And this crosses over, and this is a metaphor, but this crosses over into energetics as well. We are allowed to have healthy boundaries. And so maybe we have to think about a boundary that makes sense for us so that those seeds can really be nourished. Give ourselves that opportunity for that self-care. You know, once we've planted the seeds, we don't need to be 24/7 tending to the garden and pruning everything and you know, patting down the dirt over here and there and just making everything just so. We also need to stop for that respite and witness the beauty, like be the observer of the beauty, right? So creating those, thinking on our feet when something doesn't go as planned. The little critters are enjoying the nourishment. So maybe we have that patch of our landscape that's for the little critters, and we enclose the rest of it to make sure we have that opportunity to nurture that. Then elephant spirit, learn from the past. Learn from the past. So this is an interesting follow to fox spirit. What's coming through here is perhaps we can think about what was that seed that we planted, and does it perhaps need to be a different seed that's more attuned to us rather than the little critter that wants to enjoy the meal. I keep looking behind me because there's this, I don't think you can see it because it's so tiny, but there's this tiny little gecko that's crawling on my screen. I love them. All right, so elephant, learn from the past. Learn from the past. What's also coming through from elephant is we want to learn from the past, but we don't want to live in the past. We want to think about the experiences that we've had, and if they weren't the kind of experiences that were ideal, how can we think on our feet and not get stuck there, but think about how moving through a similar experience, we might be able to think about it differently. Learn from the past. And something else is coming through about memory, remembering, and elephant is aware that memories carry a lot of resonance, and elephant wants us to remember that as we are uprooting, as we are letting go with the support of Groundhog Spirit, as we are letting go of those charged emotions around memories, it's not going to erase the memory itself. We're still going to have the memory. We're just not going to be triggered by things that spark the memory again. So we're not going to relive the energetic experience of it. We're going to be able to recall it in the same ways as before, but we're not going to have the attached residual energy about it. And so that's what elephant spirit also wants us to remember. And elephant spirit and groundhog spirit, actually groundhog was kind of the one pulling through elephant is what I'm getting now, because groundhog is recognizing that because we've been working on this for a few weeks now, we're really excuse me, we're really getting deep now into some really deeply seated belief systems that maybe we weren't even always consciously aware of, that are really uprooting. And so some of it is sort of hard to let go of, because some of those things that are so deeply rooted in our subconscious, it's like how we define ourselves, right? And even though we know we want to let go of the things that don't serve, we can feel it in our energy, we can feel it in our body, we can feel it in the way we think about things. Something's just off, it's not quite right, it doesn't really fit, but you're just not sure what to do with it. So this is what we're uprooting, and this is what Groundhog is helping us to continue to uproot and remember how Groundhog was talking about, even when you can't see the rooting of the new seeds that were planted, even when we can't see the uprooting of the things that are being uprooted, know and trust that with the intention, the process is happening. The process is happening, and we have to give ourselves patience and grace. So this is where elephant comes in. Give yourself grace and patience, and remember that letting go of the outdated belief system, the energy that no longer serves, the definitions that no longer serve, the charged emotions around memories. It doesn't delete the memory. It just frees us from the emotional attachment that tends to have us living in the past, right? So that we can be more fully present. All right, then Lizard Spirit came through, fell out of the deck. Lizard Spirit is dream the world into being. Dream the world into being. What's coming through for this one? This is Spider Spirit stepped back to let Lizard Spirit come through. Lizard Spirit, dream the world into being. So this is a deeper layer of how the process is working and how we are imprinting our subconscious with these new seeds. So dream, our human body goes to sleep, and the energy aspect, the other energetic aspects of ourselves roam about in dream time and travel to different dimensions. So dreaming the world into being, this is the metaphor that Lizard wants to have us think about, so that we can really trust that once we've planted those seeds of our dreams and of our magic, once we've planted those seeds, go ahead and let them, do their thing underground and let them take root. And just like sometimes we don't always remember our dreams when we wake up back into our human bodies, and that's okay, right? A lot of people talk about we work things out in our dreams, let it be that, and we don't have to always worry about it. We can't always, it's not always going to be a scenario where we can name everything, every energetic movement that's going on our journey, and that's okay. We don't have to name everything that's being let go of. Sometimes those deeply seated outdated belief systems are so deeply rooted that it's hard for us to really articulate what those are all about. So those three came out of the deck. It fell out of the deck. And then the one that came through, I love this one, the one that came through in the more traditional way of splitting the deck, Panther Spirit, reclaim your power. Reclaim your power. So right away, I'm getting the knowing that Crow Spirit pulled through Panther Spirit. Reclaim your power. So as we are doing all of this, as we are identifying, and maybe not always articulating, which is okay, as we are identifying, uprooting, letting go of the things that are ready to let go of, stepping into new definitions, new narratives, new normals, planting those seeds of our dreams that we are manifesting in the world. Remembering from Crow Spirit's reminder, co-creating with Spirit, our subconscious, as these things are implanted in our subconscious, these new definitions, these new normals, these new narratives, these new frameworks that actually are aligned with our true path and purpose, that actually do uplift and support the positive aspects of who we are. at our core and at our essence. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful souls, beings born of light and love, moving through human experiences. As we continue on our remembrance journey, uproot those things that don't align with that, plant the seeds that do. This imprinted on our subconscious is how we co-create our new world. And Panther Spirit comes through to say, yes, this is how we reclaim our power. This is how we reclaim our power. All right. So I am definitely, yes, I'm definitely getting the knowing that Crow Spirit is passing the baton. Still going to be there in the background supporting cast, but we are going to return him to the deck. Crow Spirit is passing the baton to Panther Spirit. We've done so much over the past few weeks, and it's time to shift into that perspective of, we've kind of, okay, here's the metaphor where there's the mountain. We've climbed up the mountain with Crow, and now we're at the top of the mountain. And Crow is having us meet Panther at the top of the mountain. And so now as we walk down the other side of that mountain, we walk down the other side of that mountain with Panther Spirit by our side. We're reclaiming our power to be able to think on our feet and discern and decide which seeds need to be planted, and if we need to create some boundaries around our hedges or plants, so that we can have what we need for ourselves, and maybe we have some extra that we plant for the little critters that live in our environment, that we are able to do this with discernment. We are able to have that discernment because we're gaining clarity. We're gaining clarity on what it is we want to plant. And using those examples from the past, not to live in the past, but just to know and understand the patterns and rhythms of things that got us to where we were, to the point of knowing what we need to release and let go of. And as we're letting go of the energy that is ready to go, the emotions, the charged emotions that are ready to go, often we don't need to name it, but when we know that it's connected with something that's a significant memory, whether it's a positive thing, an uplifting thing, an emotional thing, a traumatic thing. My palm is itching. I wonder what that means. Elephant is reminding us we will always carry the memory, but we need to let the emotion go, because emotions and feelings are meant to be felt. They're not meant to be carried. The belief systems around how we define and identify are what we want to carry in our subconscious, because that's the subconscious. In the scenario of lizard spirit dreaming the world into being, the subconscious is the dreaming part, like the subconscious getting to that point where we really, the belief is so normal that we don't even think about it anymore. And so these are the new seeds that are the dreams, that are the truths that are aligned. This process is happening. Lizard Spirit wants to remind us this process is happening not only consciously, when we are consciously aware and we're making those conscious choices and decisions, but this is also happening subconsciously. And remember from Crow that subconscious is neutral. The subconscious just knows a belief as a belief. So this is why it's so important, like Stag Spirit was saying, to take charge in deciding exactly what seeds we're planting, where they're going to go, and really make those conscious choices and decisions. All right, so yes, so Groundhog, pulled through Groundhog, time to let go, pulled through Elephant. So Groundhog is going to now become supporting cast. We're putting Groundhog back in the deck. But the echoes of Groundhog's message are going to carry through as we work with Elephant. Okay? An elephant is learning from the past. So, Panther Spirit and Elephant Spirit are moving into the primary message bringers and support this coming week with Lizard Spirit and Fox Spirit. Think on your feet and dream the world into being as the supporting cast for this upcoming week. So this is going to be fun. Just tuning in to, if there are any other messages that want to come through. Something else with elephant. There's something else with elephant. And it's around soul family and soul connection and recognizing that yeah, there's something coming through here about the past is not only the past in the current incarnation that we are in this current lifetime, but elephant is reminding us that as souls that are moving through this human experience, before we were incarnated and moving through this experience, we were moving through other incarnations. And after this one, we'll move through another. And so elephant is reminding us that the memories that we carry are that ancient, but we don't need to carry the energy that and the emotions and the feelings that those memories have or had at the time that we were moving through experiences that were in a present now moment. So just again reminding us that emotions and feelings and energy associated with experiences in its natural way, emotions rise within us, they get expressed, and they subside, and they leave our energy field, and they leave our body, or they leave our energetic body. Our body is energy too, and they leave our unseen energy aspects of ourselves in a natural way. Like there's a natural ebb and flow of that. But again, in our life, there's not always an opportunity to allow for that to happen naturally. So this is where it comes in when we create those practices and things in our life, like meditation and yoga and swimming and Pilates and, walks in nature and hiking and sitting in silence and eating well and exercising. Like all of those things help to regulate ourselves, our energy, our emotions. And those are absolutely, of course, perfectly appropriate things to do. But elephant reminds that we need to also give ourselves grace and hold space for just being in the moment. And in the being, in the presence, in the being of the moment, that will create the opportunity for the unfolding of what's ready to come up and be released. We don't always need to be doing. So, in whatever ways that you're able to ground into being and into stillness, that is being encouraged by Elephant. All right, so I don't seem to be getting any other messages coming through. Actually, just as I say that, Fox and Panther seem to be talking. Let me see. So Fox is thinking on your feet, and Panther is reclaiming your power. So what are you saying, Fox? Yeah, Fox is just reminding us that as we've been doing all this work, we are getting better and better, more keen at our discernment relative to how we can think about what makes the most sense for us. You know, what are those supportive things that we can bring into our lives that help to anchor us, and not just in the metaphor of how we want to shape our landscape, but also how do we want to shape our inner landscape, and to just trust those instincts and those intuitive hits that you get, like those gut feelings. And like, you know, if you are getting I don't know, like my hand was itchy. Sometimes for some people that means something. I can't remember what that means for one of my friends, but or if you're, you know, the hair on the back of your neck is standing up, you know, listen to those signs. That's the way our consciousness gets our attention. Our spirit gets our attention that way. And so Fox Spirit wants us to stay in connection with those kind of messages, to be able to not be afraid to shift or detour a little bit, even when we might have set a plan already. And that's also an aspect of how we reclaim our power, because we're not being, we're not letting like the plan dictate the absolute line of getting from point A to point B. If there's a divinely guided detour or an intuitive hit or guidance that's telling us, that's not quite aligned, maybe we need to shift. So that's all that this is about. Like, this is also echoing, again, Stag Spirit's message of take the lead, you know. Don't get the prepackaged variety of seeds if some of those seeds aren't what you want to plant. Okay. So that's it. I'm not getting anything else. So as usual, these messages that I bring through are for the collective. So it's for anyone that's going to be watching this. If you've tapped in and tuned in live, I appreciate that. This will be posted on my social media. So anyone that is watching at any time, I know I do this on a weekly basis, but regardless, it could be a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. If you are watching, there will be a resonant message somewhere in here for you. So I encourage you to, you know, not hold any expectations, but just go ahead and tune in and listen and see what resonates. And if there isn't anything really that does, then that's okay, but I would be surprised. So definitely, I'm feeling like I'm really going to enjoy. I really want to work with Panther Spirit, but my spirit is telling me I need to be actually working more closely with Elephant Spirit. So I'm going to listen to my spirit and invite them both, but primarily elephant spirit. And I absolutely love elephants. You know, my purple elephant creative here. So yeah, I'm not getting anything else coming through. I do also work one-on-one with folks. So you'll see my way to reach out to me when you're ready for that. All my consults are free and include a spirit animal or dragon oracle reading for you. And in the one-on-one sessions, healing, we actually get to dive into more intentionally moving energy. So moving energy, healing energy, releasing energy, shifting energy to really more fully embody these messages that come through. So yes, thank you so much, everyone. Have a beautifully blessed day.